why do you work so hard?
So one of my goals back then and still now is to further the work of ending generational poverty. That's something I'm very passionate about. And that's just in the sense of being able to provide for the people who work for me in a capacity that's above the normal. And it's important to me because I am the product of generational poverty being broken.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, I just felt like I needed a social mission.
Yeah.
And it kind of just dawned on me, so like I am the example that I want to show.